So, welcome back to the third part of the Introduction to Clarity for Climate Resilience webinars. And in this third part, I will introduce one of the two automated screening services, the one which is on urban infrastructure. The second one, there is a special webinar dedicated to it. You should take a look at. The second one is about the traffic. So I will also mention the marketplace, which has its own webinar as well. Now, where do we start? We start from open data. Happily enough, Europe has built a large set of open data which can be used for this kind of purposes. And this is what we started with as input. So there is a lot of Eurocordex data, there is European settlement map, which is very important for us, Urban Atlas, Eurostat, street tree layers. This kind of data is extremely precious, and happily enough, if you want to make an application today, you can have this for free, because it would be absolutely impossible to pay for this for any kind of application. However, it has very high societal value. Now, in this project, we have actually, let's say, enriched this European open data set by calculating new layers based on these input ones. And what we have are 23 hazard layers for the whole Europe, where we have 12 times 12 kilometers square. They are available. They were made by our partner Zank in Austria. And they give you the information, for instance, on how the heat episodes will be in the future, how the droughts will be, how many episodes of strong rain, etc. The second part is, and that's based on this European settlement map, Urban Atlas, etc. That part is giving us a land cover. It's, well, in our opinion, well, at least for our needs, it's more useful than those input layers. If you're happy with them as they are, fine. If not, you can also use ours. And what happens then? Well, we have, as I said in a previous webinar, we have these expert level services where we do very detailed analysis. This takes a lot of time, and this is done every time newly for any kind of project which you need. There are some projects trying to automatize this in specific areas for specific cases, but this is not what we are doing. What we did actually, it's done already, is the screening level service, which is simpler than what we can do in expert services, but it can be done in more than 400 urban areas in Europe. So major urban areas plus their environment, like 30, 50 and 70 kilometers away, with a lot of smaller cities, 10, 20,000 people, which cannot afford large studies. They are all included, covered by our service now. And what can it do? Well, it downscales the hazards, actually two hazard indices. One is for heat and another is for flash floods, so pluvial floods. It downscales them to 500 meters. It also gives us exposure of population and of different infrastructure types, like buildings, like roads, like railways, on more or less the same scale. And then it calculates different impact indexes, like mortality, like loss of productivity, like damages for buildings and infrastructure. In the next step, remember the nice round picture with the steps. In the next step, we users are given the possibility to assess different types of adaptation options to see what is available. And then we have grouped these adaptation options in sensible so-called strategies, because otherwise it would be very easy to make a mistake. You put together 2 free adaptation options which simply don't fit together, and, well, garbage in, garbage out, right? So we have packed this in adaptation strategies, so it's quite difficult to make a mistake with this. All you need to say is, okay, I want this one or that one, I want to apply it to 20 or 50% of my city, or of my project area, sorry, and you go on. And then the calculation is done again, and you can compare before-after situation and see what how much this brings in your case and whether it makes sense or not. We have a very interesting offer here for the regions which are interested in using this. Basically, yes, we can do this now in, as I said, over 400 regions in Europe, but we also know that we can do better. And do better is so-called regional screening, which means give us the data which is not available for a whole Europe, give us the data which is at higher resolution. Let's look at what kind of adaptation options are really available locally, how much they cost, who can do it, even the companies. And let's see also what this really brings for this region. We can either ask the experts locally, or we can put some sensors and measure and improve our models. So we need to tweak them so that they fit better the region. We can even go to higher resolutions, like 200, 100 meters. And this is something we actually intend to do with some of the project partners in Clarity. So we are already preparing some exploitation projects with them. And we would be very happy to do this also for your region. Now, this was the introduction in the self-service screening, and just a short notice on marketplace, because we tend to forget it, but it's a very, very interesting thing. What is a marketplace? It's a web service. It's actually a website, if you want. And what does it do? Well, it matches the people who have some kind of knowledge, service, offer with people who need it. And it does this with minimal effort, which is very nice. Imagine how much time you are wasting on looking for people who will be able to resolve your problems, or also on looking for people who need your expertise. So we can make this all easier, faster, nicer. It has some other features, but please take a look at a separate video which is talking about marketplace. I don't want to talk about this today. And our offer is quite obvious. If you have knowledge, if you have services, if you have some kind of data also, please go and advertise it on My Climate Services EU. And if you have some online service, we can even talk about integrating it in the workflow. Well, one workflow I've shown before this in the previous video, this advanced screening. But actually our tool can very easily implement other workflows, and the nice thing is it can do this with external programs as long as they are HTTP5. And at the end of the process, it generates very nice reports, which is what users need. So that's it for this introduction. I thank you, and in my name and in the name of all the Clarity partners.